Well, Jackie, I promised you some surprises. Well, here we go. This is the beginning of the first one. I guess you can recognize that this picture was taken on Burke Street in River Rouge. And in the background we have Herb and Ma Williams, Marie Williams. And of course in the front we have their famous manger. And I guess this was probably taken during Christmas time because of the manger was in the background. But knowing Herb the way he was, he'd leave it out there all year. This second snapshot we have somebody's birthday, and this was taken in Detroit Street. And off to the left we have Marie Williams and Herb Williams. And in the center of the table there in the background we have Joyce and Frank Corbeil. And off to the right we have Faye. And then of course right in the front here we have Frank and Pat Janowski. I don't remember whose birthday this was, but it was taken in the Detroit Street, and it was just about the time that Pat and I had met. Well, you've asked for surprises. Here we got them. Now this picture here, I don't know exactly when it was taken, but off to the left we have Marcella, and in the center we have Marion, and then off to the right we have Faye. This was taken quite a while ago from the looks of the picture. It's probably a little bit before my time. How you doing, Jack? You guessing any of the right ones? Here we have Joyce, and I believe this was her first communion from the looks of it. I doubt if she got married at this age. But anyway, if you look in the background, you can see some of the homes that we've had back in River Rouge. This is typical of what we had in River Rouge. And I believe this was on Haltner Street. Here we have a snapshot of Joyce and Faye, and this was probably also taken in Haltner Street. The background of the house back there looks like it would probably be in the same neighborhood. Here we have a group picture of the family, and I believe from what I was told on this was taken in Taylor Township, one of their first homes after they left River Rouge. And there's Ma Williams there, Marie Williams, probably holding Jackie on the left. And that sassy one in the center would be Fidelis. And then to the right we have Joyce. And kneeling and reading the Bible. You can probably see that we have Pat. This picture was taken in Wyandotte. It's probably Mark's first birthday. And this was taken in the basement of 14th Street. And off to the left we have Judy. And if you look in the background, you'll see Mrs. Williams back there preparing some of the foods for these little hungry kids, and the cake probably. And then off to the right we have Joanne and Chickie. And then alongside of Joanne and Chickie we have Pat. Mark looked like he's kind of hungry there and just waiting to get hold of the cake. Incidentally, some of the other people there are my nieces and nephew, and I won't go into identifying them. Here we have a group picture of, this is one of the more recent pictures, and if you look on the left-hand side, down on the bottom, we have Jack, and a little culprit with her tongue sticking out would be George. And of course, we have the one that's pouring a drink there, acting like she normally does, would be Pat. And then next to Pat, we have Joyce, and then the non-drinker there with the glass in her hand would probably be Faye. And this was taken in Marine City, from what I can gather in the background, and probably taken in the beginning of 1980, I would think. Here we have a picture of one of the uncles, and it is Uncle Alger. I didn't know the uncles that well. I met them a few times, mostly at weddings and birthdays. But outside of that, I very seldom saw them. Here we have one of the Bulley girls, and this is probably the way Bulley girls got their boyfriends. And who's going to argue with somebody with one of those things in her hand? But anyway, that probably was taken in the early 50s or late 49, and that's Pat Bulley there, going out looking for something to shoot at, I suppose. Now here we have a group picture, and off to the bottom left we have Georgiana, and in the center we have Joyce, and that is Pat off to the right. And again, we're back in Haltner Street, probably in River Rouge. And like I say, this kind of gives you a bit of an idea of the neighborhood that we lived in. And how are you doing, Jack? I hope you're getting some of these right. Now here we have a group picture that was taken in Marine City, and off to the left we have George and Faye and Joyce and Pat. Exactly when this picture was taken, I'm not really sure, but it's probably John's birthday, because Faye liked to get a lot of people together, and we were always celebrating birthday. I guess John must have had about 100 of them. Here we have a snapshot of the Ray family, and if we all look off to the left there, we have Chickie, who was sometimes known as Joanne. Then we have Carol, and of course we have Faye, and we have Joanne next to her, and then of course we have Judy. And this picture was taken in Taylor, and I would say this was a little while after Mark was born, probably in late 50s. Here we have one of the little rascals, and this is Melinda. It's one of her grade school pictures. Here we have the other half of the Little Rascals, and I believe this is Martha. They tell me I can't tell the difference, but when they were this young it was kind of hard to tell the difference. But anyway, Martha, will you stand up? Now, just as sitting here is a nice picture. We have Janetta, and to get Janetta to sit this way is very unusual. But here's proof with the pudding. Here we have a snapshot of a Cherie, and this was probably taken in Marine City again. And as you can see, you're never too young to fix your hair. And from the looks of the background, probably getting ready for her birthday. Got a bunch of packages back there wrapped with birthday wrappings. Well, you girls have been hogging the show. Now we got to bring in some of the good looking little fellas here. And this is little Johnny Ray. And I don't really have too many pictures of Johnny Ray, but just one of the few. And it looked like probably one he had taken in grade school. Now here's another one of the Catermans, Corbeils or Catermans, and there's another good-looking Yankee here that we've got. I guess you girls down there in the South haven't seen too many good-looking Yankees, but anyway, this is Yankee Michael Caterman, probably taken while he was in school. This picture. Here we have some more of the Catermans, and looking at this picture, comment was made on, guess we'll give it a haircut. But anyway, that's Barbara Caterman, in case you didn't recognize her. And this was probably one of her grade school pictures. another one of the Catamans. Here we have Peggy, and I hope you people have been doing pretty good on this quiz, because there's a lot more to come, and they get tougher as they go along. I'm not sure exactly when this picture was taken, but it probably was when Peg was in grade school again. Looking by the picture there's no fair reading. Of course, you'll see the name Joanne, but I don't believe anybody recognizes her as Joanne, and I believe it's more like Chickie to everybody. Here we have a snapshot of Cherie, and this was taken when she was living in Marine City. It's probably one of her grade school pictures. Recognize yourself, Cherie, if you ever get to see this. Here we have another Cataman. This is Gail. This is when she's starting to grow up a little bit. And I'm not sure on when this picture was taken exactly, but it looks like a grade school picture again. I told you they'd get tougher, Jack. I hope you're keeping up on these pictures and guessing a few, because they get rougher as they get along. Now here we have a picture I believe was taken in River Rouge at Ma Williams' house. And off to the left we have Janetta. And then we have Marie Williams. And that is some of the aunts there. I'm not too familiar with the aunts, so I'm not really sure on who that is. I think that's a ginger ale Ma's got. And nobody ever saw the Bulley drinking, so it's got to be a ginger ale or Alka-Seltzer. With 4 daughters like she had, I see why she had the aspirin and the Alka-Seltzer. Here we have a picture of Antoine taken on Burke Street. And from the background, if you look at some of the cars back there, you can see a 1959 Chevy. So I would say that this picture is probably taken in the early 60s. Here's a snapshot we have here of Herb Williams. And again, here we have a couple of your aunts. I believe off to the right, we have Antoine again. And Herb in the center. And I'm not too sure on the other aunt. Here we have a snapshot, I believe was taken up around Newport, Michigan, there up in that area, Gibraltar. And that's Marcella in the center, and I guess That's her young family there. And off to the left, I believe, is Uncle Red. And off to the right-hand side, we have Louie. And I'm not familiar with the other individual there. We never saw too much of that family. Once in a while we went there. But Louie was famous for his spaghetti. Well, Jack, can you tell me who this is? This picture was probably taken in early 49 or 50. This is your sister Pat. It's probably taken in down in when she lived out there in the East Coast. I think it was taken in Maryland, from what I remember. Here we have another snapshot of Pat. The background is not familiar, and I couldn't tell you exactly where this was taken. But this again was taken probably in 1949 or early part of the 50s. Well, here we are to the Humphrey family. And of course, in Roy's arm we have Kelly. And down in the center there we may have Michelle. And of course we have Jackie. Then off to the right we have Ginger. And this was taken back in Tennessee. I believe this was probably taken when you were in a trailer. This picture, I think, was one that your father had, Herman Bulley. And I believe when this was the Red Cross nurse that took care of him. Someone was telling me that thought it was your mother on the right-hand side, but I don't believe it so. I believe it was a few of the friends there that at the time that he was in the hospital. Well, I don't know if you can recognize these people. I sure did, because I went to school with them. Here on the left-hand side, we have Emily, and on the right-hand side, we have Joyce. And probably looks like it's in their probably freshman year in high school or something around in that time, from what I can gather from the picture. And this again looks like it was probably taken in River Rouge on Halder Street. Now here we have a real group of politicians, and this picture was probably taken in Ma's kitchen in Burke Street in River Rouge. Now off to the left we have the politician Archie, and off to the right here we have Lester. I don't know if we were playing cards that day or not, but it looks like Uncle Lester's holding a pretty good hand there from the way he's smiling. Here we have a snapshot of your mother, Marie Williams, or Marie Bulley, holding Mark. And this snapshot was taken in Wyandotte, and this was taken on Oak Street, 14th Street. I should say 14th Street in Wyandotte. And that was my 1950 Chevy there in the background. So it gives you an idea when that picture was taken. It was one of the first homes that we had in Wyandotte, or actually the first home that we owned. Here we have a snapshot, and you won't believe who this is. We kind of deviated here, but this picture was taken in River Rouge. And if you look in the left-hand side, you may not recognize your sister Pat. And Mark in the center there, probably when he was a year old when we went to see Grandpa in River Rouge, which was my dad. And then off to the right, we have Aunt Wanda, who used to live next door with her husband Peg. Here we have a snapshot of Pat on her wedding day, and that is Joyce alongside of her. And I guess this was probably when she was just getting ready to go to church at that time. Here we have a snapshots of the grandmas, and in the center we have Pat on her wedding day. And I think this was taken in front of Rubbeck's Tea House. Off to the right we have Pat's mother, Marie Williams, and off to her left we have my mother, Victoria Janowski. You saw a similar shot like this a little while ago. This was taken in 14th Street in Wyandotte. It's Mark's birthday again, his first birthday. There's Grandma in the center. And then off to the left we have Judy. And off to the right of Mark, one of the young ladies there, you'll find Joanne and Chicky there again. The other people that are in the picture are my nieces and nephews. And off to the left you'll find Michael Janowski. And next to your grandma there, you'll find Danny Janowski. And right in the front here, on the right-hand side, you have Tommy Janowski. And the young lady next to Mark leaning over is Mary Saplicki, my other niece. Here we have a snapshot of your uncles. And I'm not too familiar with all of them. And we have Lester, Uncle Lester on the left, and off to the right we have Uncle Archie. And I believe your mother is off behind Archie there. And there's Uncle Elger there. The other ones I'm not too familiar with because most of the time I've met the uncles and your aunts were probably at weddings or birthdays. That's probably the only time. Oh boy, this one's really going to throw you. But in case you don't recognize her, that's your mother. Don't you even recognize your mother, Jack, on the right-hand side? And her sister on the left. I have no idea when this picture was taken. Here we have a picture of Joyce. And this was taken in Hallner Street in River Rouge again. And I believe that is Earl's sitting along with him, but I'm not really sure. How you doing, Jack, on this quiz? Now here we have a picture of your mother and dad, and it's probably when they first met. And that is your mother on the left-hand side, and that is Herman Bulley alongside of her there, according to the way the picture is marked. I have no idea when this was taken. Well, you asked for this, Jack. I hope you can keep up with it. Here we have another snapshot of your family there when they were young. Here we have a picture of your mother in the center, and that is Pat on your mother's lap, and then off to the right we have Joyce, and peeking in the back there we have Faye. Here we have one of the few shots, I think, of George here and Pat. That is your sister Pat on the left and George on the right. And from all indications, this is probably taken in River Rouge again. Here we have another surprise for you. This is a toughie. I believe, looking at it, it looks like Faye's got some earrings on. That's her holding Pat. And the little fellow in the front here, I'd only be guessing on who that is. Here we'll try to bring a close-up on these. You can see what they look like when they were young. It's kind of cute, eh? Well, this is a toughie, Jack. And no fair peeking up on the top there. But if you can't recognize your own mother, you're in trouble. As the boat indicates, it's probably taken in Put in Bay. And exactly the year I couldn't tell you. But you know, by looking at this picture, and from everybody else looking at the same picture, we marvel at the resemblance here between Peggy and your mother. Here we pulled your mother back in a little closer so you can get a better look on this picture here. Even her expressions are Peggy's. Here we have a snapshot of Herman Bulley when he was 16 years old with his team of horses, and I have no idea when this picture was taken, but I would like to comment and say that this is probably one of the clearest pictures I've ever seen for the date and age of when this was taken. Here we pulled him in to give you a better look at what he looked like. We're not doing a good job on it because I think we're a little bit out of focus. But it'll give you some indication, a lot more so than what you had before. Well, how you doing, Jack? This is going to be a toughie. Even I had trouble trying to figure this one out. And from what I could read off the picture, we have Louis in the center. And off to the left we have Florence. And on the right-hand side we have your mother. If you look at the picture, you can see the old Model A's. Probably don't look like much at the time that the pictures were taken, but right now you got a collection of a fortune there. Here we have a snapshot, I believe, of one of the homes that you lived in Taylor. This picture is kind of exposed. We'll show you overexposed. We'll show you a better shot here in a minute. Here we have the same snapshot again, and gives you a little bit clearer picture. Here we have a snapshot of your mother and Herb, and I believe your mother's opening gifts here, or it could be maybe Mother's Day or something from the looks of the corsage. And this was taken back in Detroit Street, and that's your mother on the left and Herb on the right. Well, here we have a picture that was taken when you came down to pick up the twins at Aunt Joyce. And in the background, we have Dennis's new wife, Jennifer. And then we have Denise and her husband, Chris. Well, here we have a picture of a car that's been all painted up, and a certain individual from down in Tennessee came down and looked at this and said only a Yankee would do this. She couldn't understand why we painted our cars this way. But anyway, this is Brian's car and his graduation. Well, here we have Ginger, and she's the one that couldn't understand why they painted their cars that way. She says she always did think them Yankees were crazy, though, and I guess maybe we are a little bit that way. Here we have another snapshot of this famous twosome, and that's George with her new acquired daughter-in-law, Jennifer. This was taken at Joyce's house in Westland, and this is when you came to pick the twins up again. Here we have Frank Corbeil Jr., and this was taken at the same time. The other pictures were taken there with the group when we had the barbecue and you came to pick the twins up. Trying to figure out who that is peeking around the side of Frank there. We'll try to pull her in here in a minute. Ah, here we are. Well, you can't deny it now. We got her on a picture now. Pulled her in close. Is that you, Martha? Well, here's somebody we've got here that's throwing a basketball or taking a shot. There was a lot of form, but I don't know, she couldn't hit the basket. And from the looks of it, we can't really tell who that is, so we're going to tell the world who it is and pull this shot in a little closer. Here we have Melinda, missing as usual. Here we have the Corbeil family, and this was taken in Taylor. And off in the background there, way in the back, we have Barbara. Next to Barbara we have Mike, and we have Gail, and then I believe Gail is holding probably Doug, and the two other kids there are probably Frank's brother's kids. Here we pulled in Barbara and Mike a little closer here. This picture was taken in Higgins Lake, or at Higgins Lake, and this is Martha holding one of the boys up in our neighborhood there. She took a liking to. And this is Trinkline's daughter's son. Well, here's the other half of the double trouble. And this is Melinda. And she's sitting in a chair in our home in Sterling Heights. This is one of the few times I caught her sitting down. Most of the other times she was working. Ha ha. This picture was taken in Tennessee, and this is the group that walked the Appalachian. I don't remember if you remember when we stopped there, Jack. But anyway, in the bottom row we have Chris and Jeff. And then in the top row off to the left, we have the banker, and his name, I happen to remember, was Keith. And then we have the two brothers, Mike in the center there, and Pat off to the right. I believe this was taken in Johnson City on your front lawn. We're going to try and pull this in a little closer. Here we have a snapshot of John Ray, and they're sitting in the kitchen in our home in Sterling Heights. We have Janetta up here in the front. And of course, where all the food is, you usually find George and Faye. I believe this picture was taken at the time that we had the group there for Frank's son Kevin was being baptized. Well, here we pulled them in. We've got them on with the camera here, with the food. I can't deny it now. Well, nobody's going to believe this picture. This again was taken, Jack, when you came to pick the twins up. This is Aunt Joyce here pitching horseshoes. I made a deal with her that I'd sell her the negative, but she never come across. She didn't want the world to see this, but I'm going to show the whole world. I don't think she got a ringer on this one. I think she was aiming for Frank. I wish I could have the other half of this picture. Here we have Faye in Marine City, and this was Christmas. I remember it quite well. This picture is not going to show up that well because the picture itself was not that good. This was also taken in Marine City, and this was at Christmas time again. And that's Faye in the center there. And that arm sticking over her head there happened to be me. Here we have a group that was at Mark's shower. I shouldn't say Mark's, or Mark's wife's, Kathy's shower. And that's George, Denise, and it's Mrs. Fluter in the background. And with her back towards us was my nephew's wife, Marie. Here we pulled George and Denise a little closer. It looks like a battle of wits going on over here. Here we have a shot of Gloria and Pat, and this was also taken at the same shower. I don't know, looks like Gloria has some cake there she's going to take home. Looks like a kind of a healthy discussion going on here. Here we have the Harmons, and this, I believe, was taken in Marine City, and that's Harry Harmon, along with George, and Harry's son in the back there. And then, of course, we have Faye in the background. Here we pulled them in a little closer there to give you people in the background a chance to get in a picture. Here we have a snapshot of George and Denise's daughter, Bev. This picture was taken in Sterling Heights in our kitchen. And this again was taken at the time that Frank had his son over from California to be baptized. His son's name was Kevin. Here we have a group from Tennessee, and they took me in when I was homeless. I guess you didn't believe I was homeless. But anyway, on the left-hand side, this is a Humphrey family. And here we have Kelly on the left-hand side, and Michelle. And then there's Jack in the center with Vic. And there's Melinda off to the left. And there's Jean. And off to the right, I believe we have Martha. Here we have a snapshot of your sister Pat, and this had to be taken back in somewhere around 48, 49. This is one of those super pictures that we used to get for 25 cents in those little booths. I guess at that time, it's probably the only way we could have a picture taken. Here we have another snapshot, and this is Melinda, and she is holding Trinkline's son again. This is taken up in Higgins Lake when they came up. They had quite a few, I shouldn't say quite a few, but they had quite a good time up there, enjoyed themselves quite a bit, and they really took to this young kid. In fact, the picture was taken when we were moving a garage, but we don't have the garage in the background here. Here we have your uncles again, Jack, and This was taken Burke Street in River Rouge. On the left-hand side, we have Archie. And the other one, I believe, is Frank, but I'm not sure. I should say, let's start over again. I have Lester on the left-hand side, then Frank, Uncle Archie, then Elgers. I'll get them straight yet, Jack. Just hang in there. Here we pulled them in a little closer so you could see Uncle Archie and Uncle Elgers. And I believe Frank again. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. There's the group again, a little closer. There we have Gail Catterman, and according to the picture, she was 13 years old in the 6th grade. And we've pulled her in real close there. You can really see her. Here we have another snapshot of Gail. Here we have a snapshot of Barbara, and according to the picture, this was when she was 12.5 years old. I guess this must be one of her grade school pictures, probably just going into junior high or something, from the looks of things. Here we pulled her in a little closer to give you a better view of her. Here we have the Humphrey group again. There we have Marcia, Kelly, and Ginger. This was taken in Johnson City, Tennessee. There's Kelly again, acting up as usual. There's Kelly again. I believe that was Michelle there in a tree, from what I remember of this snapshot. Now this is the group here from the Backpackers. They were getting ready to eat in Tennessee. And here the Backpackers are on their way. Here we have a First Communion snapshot of Denise, and this was taken in Westland. I showed this to Denise's daughter when she was making her First Communion. Here we have the group together. We have Dennis on the bottom, Denise, and Dick and George. Here we have the Bulley clan again, along with the Janowskis. That's Mark on the left, and Ma Williams and Pat, and then Chris off to the right, and Frank off to the right of Chris. Here we have Dennis, Denise, and Mrs. Williams, Ma. And here we have Dennis acting up. It was Mark you just saw in the background. Of course, monkey do, monkey does. Here we have Frank and Chris there. Here we got Faye and a group cutting up a rug and trying to get Ma to join in. That's Dwayne down there in the bottom there. That's Joanne's son. Here's Busha for a minute there. I don't know if you got a glimpse of her or not. But we repeated this part again, Jack, because you wanted to see it, and this was really what you really started to have me do, but I snuck in the other stuff previous to this, so. Here they are shaking it up again, shake and bake. There's Dwayne on the bottom again. There he is again. It's Dwayne. That's Joanne's son. Here we have pictures of Johnson City, and it's my old 70 wagon there, Chris in the back there. This is Our Lady of the Lord's Church in River Rouge. I took these just lately. I believe it was 1990 when they had a class reunion. And I wanted to throw this in because you remember the church itself. This is where the old Lady of the Lord's High School used to be. It's somewhat of a monument that they made for that school after they tore it down. And this is River Rouge, the city of River Rouge, looking towards Wyandotte. This is a later picture of River Rouge, so maybe you won't recognize it. This was taken in 1990. And this is looking from River Rouge from Coolidge Highway down towards Del Rey. That's the bridge across over into Detroit there. Looks a lot shorter than it really is, doesn't it? This gives you a better idea of the distance. This is the old Coolidge Highway going down towards the river, and this is the Reno building here. And I guess it used to be quite famous, a hangout for us youngsters when we were young. Here we have another shot looking down towards Coolidge, looking towards Our Lady of the Lord's Church. The high school is missing. That empty portion there is where the high school used to be. And of course there we had the rectory. This is River Rouge High, and I believe they renamed it to Buck Weber High, but I'm not sure. Probably when they first met, and that is your mother on the left-hand side, and that is Herman Bulley alongside over there, according to the way the picture is marked. I have no idea when this was taken. Well, you asked for this, Jack. I hope you can keep up with it. There we have another snapshot of your family there when they were young. Here we have a picture of your mother in the center. And that is Pat on your mother's lap.